Speaker Bureau International.
Sorry, Brian.
Unique Speaker Bureau International and A Better Place to Work are starting a collaboration called Spark, Shift and Succeed. And it's going to be sessions every Monday, Irish South African time, I believe, Kim, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Basically,
9
what we plan on doing is we're going to have a professional speaker. So the initiative is branded USBI, Better Place to Work, Spark, Shift, Succeed. And what we do is we have a speaker who will come on board and will actually discuss their relevant topic. Their relevant topic will be focused on one of our diagnostic solutions. So, for example, next week we have Yael Giffen. She will be on the session with us, and she'll be speaking about customer satisfaction. And we have a diagnostic. We have an assessment tool called customer satisfaction. And she'll be speaking to a larger audience. We have the whole of the Unique Speaker Bureau portfolio of contacts database who are being invited. And we encourage everybody over here to send Kim through your database so that we can invite all of these, all of your members. We've sent all of ours through. Kim is populating the emails, which should go out probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm not sure what the plan is for next week. So we're probably going to be inviting in the region of about 5,000, 6,000 people to the session. So it's going to happen every week, Kim. Yep, every week it happens. Morning. Every Monday morning, and every Monday morning it will be a different speaker speaking about a different topic which aligns with one of our diagnostics. So customer satisfaction, Monday coming. It could be culture the week after. It could be artificial intelligence the week after. It could be, I don't know, cyber risk, cyber security, any one of the 28 or 29 diagnostics that we've chosen. We have 40 odd. We've chosen the top 29 that we want to talk about. So for the next 29 weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to spark interest. We're going to shift thinking globally. So we're going to encourage people to think differently. And then we're going to succeed by offering them a solution. So the whole program is about obviously selling the speaker. So the speaker is represented, and they do their keynote address about customer service satisfaction in this instance, and then the speaker will guide them to actually who will be, what they need, how we can help with their particular need on customer satisfaction. So if the audience is out there and the audience needs to know about customer satisfaction, they know Yael Giffen will do the keynote, and Better Place to Work will provide the solution. Okay, so I just wanted to take a couple of seconds just to elaborate on that so that we all know USBI is a major partner of ours, and we're a partner of theirs. We work really close together because of the synergies, and we're partnering more and more cohesively as we go forward, and it's a long-term plan. So I would encourage you, please, to if you can't share your database for some reason with Kim and GDPR and Poppy, we are 100% compliant. So your database is safe and it's only used for one purpose, and the purpose that you have, and the email will come from you. Or if you don't mind inviting your databases to these sessions, Kim can give you all the details afterwards if you're interested, or maybe she'll pop something on the group while we're busy chatting, and then we'll take it from there. But without any further ado, guys, thanks for coming. We've got a good BP2W showing out there. I see lots of blue, which is amazing. And I'm going to hand over to Roger. Roger, if you can take it away, the stage is yours. Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks very much, Brian. Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
I'm going to follow the pattern that Robin did the last time, which was give some sort of overview of why I am where I am today. I think that's it's been a bit of a journey, but I need to share, please. Okay, thank you. So just bear with me a moment. I'll get there in a moment. There. So 3 Ps: productivity, performance, and people. So how did I get here? I started my career as a professional trainee in a local authority. Interestingly, I was offered 4 jobs and 4 different careers in that one week. But this was the one I chose because it didn't, it meant I wasn't stuck in an office from 9 to 5. I could be out and about, um, as well as having a decent career. So this was the path I decided to follow. I took 2 professional qualifications to become a competent professional practitioner. After 4 years in the field, I got promoted to manage a small office and a field team. After 2 more years, I was promoted to develop as a headquarters professional expert. So deepening the knowledge, but narrowing it. And then after 4 years in that role, I then got promoted again, and this time I was managing all the local offices that we had. We're talking about a geography of 100 miles from north to south and probably 70 miles east to west. And my job was to manage the performance in those 5 offices and their field teams. In my field role, I realized how important it was to be a competent leader, because I was not only leading my colleagues from the local authority, I was also engaging with all sorts of organizations where we needed to be working. So it was engaging with clients and working with the employees in those organizations. But when I was in my office role, it was important to be a positive and influential leader. I was the one who was, leading, setting morale, engaging people, making them feel valued, and as well as dealing with all the problematic issues that came along. But then I realized if I wanted to achieve my ambitions, I needed more qualifications in business, in leadership and management. So I did a postgrad diploma in management studies. A few years later, I followed that on with an MBA. But from leaving school and going into my career, I've effectively did 11 years of study on a part-time basis. So it was quite hard to get there. But the latter qualifications enabled me to practice and talk confidently about business, organizational, and people issues, as well as being a better leader in myself. But then I needed to sort of think about wider horizons. Where did that journey need to go? And in a local authority at that time, there was a lot of press and media criticism about the performance of local authorities. I thought we were doing pretty well, but I decided I needed a wider understanding of how other leaders in other types of organization led and managed their people. I joined what was then known as the British Institute of Management to network with other managers from all sorts of organizations and to learn from them. Interestingly, I found out that the private sector was not really better than the public sector, and certainly in my experience of the public sector. But we were driven by different factors. Anyway, in my job, this led me to being engaged corporately. I joined a team which was commissioned to rethink the authority's strategic approach. We created a new vision, mission, values, and improving collaboration, but bearing in mind the local authority comprises different professional disciplines. So they can be highways engineers, they can be lawyers, accountants, they can be social workers, teachers, a whole range of different departments. But making them all feel part of the same entity was the challenge. And we began that challenge with rolling out the vision and mission and everything to the top 50 leaders. Then that broadened to the senior 150 leaders. And then eventually that was cascaded down through the organization to 19,000 employees. So it was a major rebranding exercise, but the key challenge was rebranding the people to believe that they were part of an entity that had ambitions, wanted to do better, and the one thing it did for me was to make me realize that this quite excited me. Getting people on side, getting them engaged, that was something that excited me a bit more than the professional job that I'd been in. Anyway, through the British Institute of Management, which is now the Chartered Management Institute, I learned and networked with leaders and managers from a wide range of sectors, learned about their different styles. We shared best practice, different approaches, looked at how they achieved performance. And some of that sharing was not only about the good experiences, it was about the bad as well. I then got headhunted by the BIM to work as a regional manager with them. And that led me then into becoming more of an expert in organizational development, leadership and management, and performance. I organized CPD programs for the membership, collaborated with other institutes on professional development. I worked with government development agencies on economic development challenges, and the focus was always on productivity, improving performance, but the key to transformation always came back to getting the hearts and minds of people. My regional focus led me to this collaboration with other professional bodies for the CPD purposes, developing the professional learning networks, where we were addressing the professional development needs of a whole range of different professional bodies. I organised masterclasses and conferences, and the other part of my day job was linking to universities, business schools, management schools, colleges who were developing future managers and leaders. This led me then to founding a regional organizational development forum, because OD seemed to be a theme that was very popular, but nobody was doing enough about. And I ran this with 3 other people for several years, again, focusing on productivity and performance improvement. Some of the speakers included gurus like John Adair, John Burgoyne. I won't list all of those, but by the time you get to the end, you'll realize that Shay McCartney was one of these people. Thank you, Shay, for those many contributions that you made in the past. And then we also engaged with successful business leaders. They were invited to share their stories, their philosophy, their approach, and what transpired as best practice. So this was a fantastic grounding for me in working with different types of organizations. Some of the clients that I've had, the top 3 I was delighted to be involved with when I was working for the CMI. The ones that follow are the organizations that I'm working with now. back to the introduction to performance inspired. So when I left my, when I left the CMI, I founded my own organization called Performance Inspired. It was founded in 2010, specializing in workforce development and OD. It was based on the 30 years of experience that I'd gained, and 15 years of that, which had been spent in consultancy. Our ethos is based on the importance of people driving performance. And the lesson is how we treat people and develop them has a huge impact on performance. The more we value our people, the less staff churn we have, and the greater our experience and expertise becomes. We need then less management time to spend dealing with issues, and all that translates into improved performance. So that sort of mirrors the value and purpose of Better Place to Work. Three key interrelated elements: culture, having the right culture within an organization enables people to be valued, engaged, better focused, and fulfilled. And all of those things lead to people being more committed and improving their personal performance, but also to working better in their teams. Leadership is not about senior leaders, it's about setting an environment that enables all employees to have the scope to lead in their areas of knowledge and expertise, developing better team working in that process. But the whole process of involving people in leading within the organization, but creating the concept of leadership is the mission that we should all be on. Engaging employees effectively, empowering and encouraging staff to engage proactively in addressing challenges, saving management time, leading to having greater responsibility and trust in your staff. All of this being informed by the things I'd done in my work role, the opportunities I'd had in my CIM role. And that's, really what that's where my expertise has come from anyway. Now, I first heard about Better Place to Work about 20 years ago when Shay and I were sitting at the back of a conference room in Wigan, in northwest England. I was welcoming Shay to the conference which I'd organised, but that was where Shay then introduced me to what he was doing with Better Place to Work. He talked to me about his model of approach to people management. We spoke of it as an even better place to work in those times. He talked about how to better engage employees, about better cultures in the workplace, talked about developing leaders and the concept of leadership. But the key theme was that it was all about meeting people's needs in the world of work. His approach took a radically different approach to many organizations and the type of organizational development that was evolving at that time. But even better still was it had useful metrics which could monitor how you were progressing, where you needed to spend some time attending to issues. But it also created a general feeling of well-being when you could see that you were moving from the reds to the greens. I soon became aware that it was a very user-friendly methodology, very engaging and effective in addressing workplace issues and encouraging the addressing of workplace issues. And as a result, I was pleased for our organisation to become an accredited delivery partner, both in the UK and now in Nigeria. We're now pleased to be working with the Nigeria Chartered Institute of Personnel Management to introduce the concept that helps to create an even better place to work in their organizations. So we're looking now at through the CIPM network about how to promote better place to work to the wider corporate market. We've forged a partnership and we've signed an MOU with the Nigeria CIPM regionally and nationally, and now gaining access to senior HR professionals and their employing organizations. It's not converted into tangible business as yet, but the noises that are coming are very encouraging. We're hoping to forge partnership approaches with HR and OD consultants across Nigeria. And we're also now developing relationships with the Association of Elite HR Professionals in Nigeria. And we're hoping shortly to be contributing to conferences, providing themed presentations, but all with the aim of helping them to better engage with employers on their workforce development. And Better Place to Work is a key plank in that. Networking is something that I've got something of a reputation for in the UK. Over all these years, I've been getting a very clear understanding about how to get closer to the client audience, attending business exhibitions and fairs. And for one organization, I'm lucky because they give me a free stand whenever they run a business fair. I've been forging links with chambers of commerce in my own neighbouring area. So that's probably about 5 county areas. Interesting how to develop that conversation. The chambers of commerce are quite defensive when, in my experience, but 2 or 3 of them are coming round and a little bit more open now to looking at better solutions than they currently have. So I'm targeting conversations with organizations, hopefully of 100 employees and upwards. I'm looking at how to engage with senior leaders and HR professionals from different types of organization. And in the next step is I used to have excellent relationships with CIPD in the UK. And my aim is to re-establish those sort of links with the CIPD in the UK, and we'll then deploy the same strategy as we have in Nigeria. This brings us back to the 3 Ps. The first one, productivity. Productivity is a word that switches on governmental organizations, development agencies, and funding providers. So they might be the enablers that help us to get to doing some business with organizations. Performance sparks people more in the boardroom, MDs, senior management teams, operations directors. They're always looking at how to improve, but performance is the P that switches them on. And the final P is people. Learning how to involve and engage people, nurture their enthusiasm and get it directed to the issues that we need it to be directed on, lead to good productivity and performance levels. If we don't do that, those levels will always suffer. So that's me in a nutshell. So I'm open to any questions that people have.
Roger, so you mentioned that you're doing some listings and stuff with CIPM. CIPM or CIPD in Nigeria.
CIPM, yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you got into them and maybe what you're currently trying to do with them?
Yeah, well, I've got a man on the ground, Wally, who's I think he might be listening today. Um, he's really good. He's like me. He's really good at networking, finding out the people you need to speak to, opening doors, and during that process, we came across the organization CIPM. We then found out what the CIPM was doing, what it stood for. In fact, I think Wally is a member of the CIPM, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so we've used Wally's relationships, some of my experience, and we're now looking at how we can take advantage of that and how we can better engage with HR professionals within organizations.
So is CIPM a collective of businesses? Is that like some kind of marketing group or human
They're a
resources
professional
group
body for HR professionals,
or
yeah.
HR professionals?
So they set the yardstick for how uh, qualifications are. Um, I'm just trying to stop sharing the screen for a moment. Here we go. Yeah, so they set the scene for professional qualifications for HR careers. They are a membership body who are utilized for their continuing professional development, the CPD that I was mentioned earlier on. And the second one is the Organization for Elite HR Professionals. I'm really interested in them because I'm hoping they're the budget holders and the people who've got some funds that we can utilize in spending on their workforce development.
And how many people are part of that CIPM? Do you know? Do you have access to their database?
Yeah, I mean, in the UK, CIPD will have 90,000 professional members. In Nigeria, I'm guessing the CIPM will have, I don't know what the actual number is, but I would think it would be a minimum of 50,000.
And you don't hold details of those databases. You can't freely
No,
access them.
they will guard that very closely. The key is working in partnership with them, having a dialogue with them, persuading them that you can help them to do their job better. You know, you can feed new ideas, new thinking, and if they recognize the value of that, they will be quite happy to share that with the members. It becomes an important part of their professional development.
Ah, gotcha. Makes sense.
It's in the same way that, like the master classes and the conferences and the speakers we engaged, they were all to feed senior people in organizations with ideas, you know, some oxygen that might refresh their thinking and give them new ideas about how to help move their organizations forward. In those days, I wasn't interested in selling, I was interested in broadening their minds. These days, I want to broaden their minds, but I also want to do the business at the end of it as well.
Sure. So have you managed to get into? I know we've only been working a short time, but delivering an even better place to work to customers. Have you been successful in getting customers? Maybe your most recent one.
Well, I'm fairly. I also run another organization, which is about leadership management development, and it is about qualifications. And that has been taking probably 80% of my time. And it's only recently I'm sort of diminishing the need for my time in that organization. And I'm now beginning to take the lid off what we can do with performance inspired.
Brilliant.
So Nigeria is at this point in time is probably better developed than my situation in the UK, but
Yeah.
I'm in the process of repositioning where I am personally so that I can commit to the performance inspired agenda and we will be spending a lot more time with networking bodies, networking organizations where we can promote the message more effectively. I would speak at them. I know yourself and Shay have already contributed to some of what the things we've been doing. Um, we're just waiting for the business to follow now.
Okay, so I think this Spark Shift Succeed drive that we're having now with USBI on Mondays, and I think that's going to, it could give you a little bit more gravitas with some of your databases, some of Wally's database. If you could get that over to Kim, then she could probably send through some invites to, I think I
Yeah.
think it's important. You're busy growing that side of your business. And obviously the exposure is great, and it's on the same timeline, more or less. So it's a great opportunity for you to get on board with that.
Well, if we could use LinkedIn and we can have a core message that we can send out to invite some of these, some of my connections to come and sample the Monday morning sessions, I think that would be something we should aspire to. I wouldn't suggest it until we've tried and tested it and feel comfortable with the approach. But once we feel we've got a professional approach that employers would be interested in, I think we could use that as a stimulating community to engage, employing organizations, whether they're operational people or whether they're from the HR teams.
Yeah. Look, I'm sure Kim will, the marketing department, Kim and her team will put something together and get it onto LinkedIn anyway, so that if you're just watching, you can share those and
Yeah.
encourage your followers to actually get involved. With regards to the event itself, it's going to be 5-star. We're working with the best speaker bureau in globally, pretty much, and they only have 5-star speakers and platinum speakers. So the actual thing is going to be absolutely riveting as far as I'm concerned. So we won't let any customers down or anything like that. So let's try and get as many people as possible to actually engage and get online, and then we can see how it works from there.
No, I'd support that, Brian. And certainly my best network is LinkedIn these days.
Yeah.
Roger.
Is there any other questions for Roger?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Roger, when you're presenting Better Place to Work to a potential customer, what are the hot buttons? Like I asked this of one of my customers. I said, why did you go with Better Place to Work in the first place? And they said, because I talked about ownership. People themselves were taking ownership for creating that
Yeah.
culture of openness, trust, collaboration. So I'm just wondering, in your experience, what would you say would have been?
It's exactly the same, Shay. It's having a conversation about the culture of their organization. And if their approach is not about caring for people, involving people, stimulating and making working life a bit more exciting. But ownership is absolutely key to it. Putting your trust in people, giving them ownership of their challenges. That is the thing that switches workforces people on.
Yeah. Thank you.
But it's at the end of the day, it's a partnership between the leadership in that organization and the leaders in the organization and engaging successfully the people who would work for them.
Good. Well
Hi,
done.
Roger.
Better Place to Work should do that, Roger.
Say again.
This is designed primarily with that in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely key. We've gotten country miles from where we used to be about measuring people's performance and bean counting, measuring work. It was quite frightening. I got engaged in in my department at work. We introduced a quality system because it was the thing we needed to do. And two people got engaged with a consultant to create the quality system. And then it was launched to the people. And the people were so alienated about the quality system because it was all about getting the job done. It was not about how do we engage people to achieve the end. It was a driver rather than, the carrot wasn't there to encourage the people. And within 18 months, I had to re-engineer the quality system to be more people oriented and to encourage people to begin to start owning it. And the only way I could do that was to get them involved in the change.
Thank you.
But they then felt they had the opportunity to make the changes that they wanted. And as a result of that, they owned it. And there was a greater obligation to fulfill.
Yeah.
May I
Pedro, you
ask
had a
my
question.
Yes, please. Thank you. Roger, just wanted to understand, in the, dare I say, it, the early days, you were talking about dealing with your local chambers, and then over time you've moved across to targeting companies with 100 plus employers or employees. And where did you see the value? Because in the early days, you were literally paying it forward in terms of doing right by organizational development. And as you moved on, you've sort of looked at the trading element of it. Did you ever find a gap where, and I'm paraphrasing because it's the challenge that we have here in KZN with regards to the chamber. So the chamber has, to your point, a bucket load of small businesses who need this kind of assistance, but they're all sitting with a begging bowl. You know, they don't have the money to take on an opportunity like this. So how did you balance, and I don't know if the UK is the same with the chambers, if these kind of initiatives were self-funded by the entities, or was there a stipend? How was it funded?
That was in trying to engage with the smaller organizations. So SMEs in the UK, we're talking about organizations up to 250 people. From 100 plus, they're middle-sized organizations to me. So somewhere between 100 and 1,000 that I would class as medium-sized organizations in the business definition. But I worked with the funding agencies on how do we engage the smaller, maybe the organizations of 10 or 20 people that had the potential then to grow as businesses and to become bigger. So government agencies, the funding bodies, the authorities that are interested in economic development, as you well know, they are the fund holders. So you need different mechanisms and drivers. So when you're dealing with an organization of 10 people, often the owner or the manager of that business is probably the most influential factor. So how can we help to develop that individual to then better drive the business side of things, but also to carry the people with him? And if you can get that equation, getting a really strong focus on what the future of that business is and where the future business development is coming from. And you then marry that with helping him working with his people to better perform, better understand what they need to be doing, and working better as a team together. that will then make that organization grow from 10 to 20. And that's where you need all the other enterprise support services. How do we upsize premises so that in order for them to grow, how do they afford that sort of growth? Those sorts of issues then come into play. But in the smaller organizations, I've worked in partnership with other professional bodies who've also wanted to engage with smaller organizations. And often it's about hearts and minds, how do we professionally and intellectually engage with the leading figures in smaller businesses? Because they're the ones who make things happen, and what they need are the tools to do the job.
Thank you, Roger. That's great. Did that answer your question, Pedro? Just give me a thumbs up there. Thank you very much. Kim, I know we need to wind this thing up, so no other questions. Kim, do you want to just wind us up there? Thank you.
Thank you, Roger, so much it was very inspirational. Great to hear your story. We really appreciate it. Our next session is the 19th of August, and so far we've got Chris Whiteley on the cards. I will send an update shortly this week, so we can book it. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a great afternoon.
Okay, thanks very much, everyone.
Thanks a
Thanks,
lot.
guys. Don't forget to share the drive for Monday so we can get some databases going. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
Have a good week. Cheers,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
If anybody wants the slides, I'll forward them to Kim.
Thanks,
Lovely. Thank you
Roger.
very much, Roger.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.